welcome to All Sports Takes, our first episode. We're a sports channel, and for this episode, we're going to be going over NFL takes. And our topics, I'm Andrew. This is John. Our first topics are Deshaun Watson, that whole scandal and deal, the AFC West and its current, how it's going to end up. Who gets to start, Geno or Drew Lock? Is Trey Lance the real deal, and should preseason stay? We're just going to get straight into it. John, what are your thoughts on the Deshaun Watson scandal?
Well, where to start? What a story. So, as you know, his suspension has been up to 11 days now. He will be returning against the Texans. So, little coincidence there, if you could call it that. He's being fined $5 million. I mean, when he makes $230 million, does it really matter? No, it really doesn't. So, I mean, he probably doesn't really care that much. So
it's not enough.
Yeah, it's definitely not enough. Dude, he should be suspended for at least a year, I think, considering other circumstances.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, 25 women accused him of sexual harassment. And just first of all, I just want to point out, I don't think Deshaun Watson's a top 5 quarterback. In the current status, I don't think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he deserved the $230 million. And I think this whole idea of why it's majorly important, I don't think people would care as much if he was on Texans. It's generally an important deal because he's on the Browns now, and the Browns, obviously they're going to be happy about the 11-game suspension, and that's it. But they're just idiots for signing him for that much money, really.
Yeah, it's crazy. Personally, when he was playing his best, he was probably a top 5 QB in the NFL. But he hasn't played in a year.
He hasn't played in a year, if not a year and a half, I think.
Yeah,
there's more quarterbacks in the league now. Now you got Joe Burrow. Now you got Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford's coming up.
Yeah,
Matt Stafford's not top 5, but
he's definitely not the top 5 QB in the NFL for sure. And
I don't know.
He saw his preseason game, last week, he did not play very well.
Yeah, no.
That's
rust. Too. We'll see how he plays. He's just got to put in the work. But I don't know. In terms of the actual suspension itself, I think we both agree it's not enough. To put in perspective, his original suspension was the same as DeAndre Hopkins' PED suspension. So the NFL originally is comparing doing performing enhancing drugs to having 25 women accuse you of sexual harassment. And yet, even now, after it's his original suspension, now it's at 11, obviously, and $5 million. It's still a lot better than Calvin Ridley, a suspension. He got suspended for a year for betting on his own team. And the NFL needs to hone in on a certain way to have all these suspensions actually make sense, because it doesn't make sense to me when a person who is betting on NFL games on himself gets a lot worse of a suspension than a person who has 25 women accuse him of sexual harassment. It just doesn't make sense. And then I think it's just bad for the NFL. It's a bad picture. Doesn't make the NFL look good, basically.
Yeah, for sure. They just need to separate and decide what suspensions get more time and what suspensions get less time,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. It just makes the NFL look bad. He's just kind of a trash quarterback, in my opinion. I'm Bengals fan,
I'm
so
agree with that.
Maybe
he comes back. Maybe he comes back and he's great.
Yeah, he was great on the Texans.
I doubt it.
Yeah,
he was a great quarterback. Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to, unless you have anything else to add.
No, I think we move on to the AFC West.
Okay, let's move on to the AFC West. What's your prediction for this division? What's your record in the teams in order?
Chiefs 12-5. Chargers 11-6.
6,
yes. Raiders 10-7. Broncos 8-9.
Okay.
I still think the Chiefs are gonna win, even if they lost to Tyreek Hill. Personally, I don't think they're going to be as good, and I could definitely see the Chargers winning, considering they probably could have beat them last year other than Brandon Staley throwing away the game with his terrible decisions.
I agree. I mean, it's the toughest division by far in the NFL, and it puts the AFC at a really tough course where you have so many good divisions already in the AFC North, and now you have the Raiders, who get arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. Some people will have Jay Jettis. I don't know. Mine personally, number one is Devontae Adams. That's right now. Maybe he falls off the season. I don't know. And the Broncos, who just got a quarterback. I mean, their defense was great last year. They have Javonte Williams and a great running back. They have a good offensive line. Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton. The Broncos, for me, I just am not on the Wilson hype train. So I have the Broncos at 8-9 as well. I don't think that the Broncos even compare to the rest of the teams in this division. They're a great team. I think if they're in the AFC South, they win the AFC South.
Yeah, I'm on the Broncos side beater. I personally don't think they're the greatest team. So you got Russell Wilson, Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, great defense. But honestly, they've yet to prove themselves, especially the last 2 seasons. It's just been terrible. Personally, I don't think if they were in the South, they wouldn't win because I think the Titans would still win or the Colts.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely the Broncos. I see them at the bottom, not much higher. I don't think they're really gonna beat the Raiders.
No, I agree. I mean, I think the Chiefs top at 12-5 or 13-4, and Chargers are gonna be 11-6, and the Raiders are gonna be 10-5. I think the Raiders get the last wild card spot.
I could see the Chiefs going 13-4, but just with losing Tyreek Hill, we see Mecole Hardman. He has bursts of potential, but he's just not consistent.
They don't have a true replacement. Period.
Yeah.
They don't have a good running back. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is kind of a bum.
He's mid. I wouldn't say he's the best. I mean, you did sign Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, I think it could be Juju Smith.
He could be good, but I just don't. He's definitely not living up to Tyreek Hill though. So
no, 100% no. I think we can agree it's gonna be like Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders playoffs. I think the order of that, I think the Raiders might surprise people. I really do. Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Tay Adams, Hunter Renfrow, really solid defense.
Darren Waller,
Max Crosby is a beast. Darren Waller, good O-line. And honestly, the Chargers, I don't trust their how it's their coach and how it's organized. And I also I'm not a fan. I haven't seen the defense play. I know they have just gotten so many defensive weapons. J.C. Jackson, I think Khalil Mack, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah, Khalil Mack. But I just haven't seen him play. I don't know. Khalil Mack's injury prone. J.C. Jackson, he's pretty darn good, but he's
probably the best DB in the NFL, coming from a Patriots fan. But I have to say, Chargers, I really like the Chargers. I mean, you got Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. I mean, the offense is great. I'm sure they could probably use few receivers like Keenan Allen. He's getting old,
Mike Williams is there though.
Mike Williams is really good. Austin Eckler too. He's a great.
Austin Eckler is one of the best running. He's the best receiving back.
Yeah, but I agree.
Brandon healthy.
Made some interesting calls last season. And it definitely cost him a playoff spot. In my opinion.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, I say we move on to, unless you have anything to add. That division, it's just it's 3 main teams. I think the Broncos are on the bottom, but
yeah, I mean, still the Broncos are going to be a good team. I mean, they got a bunch of. Well, I mean, they got some weapons. 2 good wide receivers in Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton. So. And
I don't know, with the Chargers, they have a great quarterback. Obviously, the second best quarterback to come out of that draft class. I usually hate them, but they made some really good moves this offseason. I don't know. I could see them going over the Chiefs. I could also see them going the last wild card spot. Anyway.
Yeah, that's true. And you never know.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to
Drew Lock,
who starts.
Geno Smith, start. Who will start?
I mean, let's go over the career stats. Drew Lock coming in at 4,700 yards, 25 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, and a 59.3% completion rate in 24 games. And Geno Smith was 6,717 yards, 34 touchdowns, 37 interceptions, 58.8 completion percentage in 45 games. So I mean, overall, they're kind of the same. Sure, Drew Lock is probably, I mean, yeah, they're about the same. It's just because Geno Smith has played more games.
Here's how I think about it. Drew Lock has more potential. Geno Smith played like buns recently against the Bears. And while Lock had COVID, he currently has COVID and he's really sick.
Yeah.
Lock outperformed Geno in both preseason games. One that he wasn't even in because Geno Smith played so bad against the Bears. So Lock outperformed Geno in the first preseason game, and then Geno like screwed himself in the second one. And now you got the scenario where I would have Lock as a solid starter if it weren't for him getting COVID. Pete Carroll recently went out and said that Drew Lock is really, really sick. And it's just not even close to being fit for play yet. And at the end of the day, I know Drew Lock has a higher ceiling. But I think that the Seahawks should start Drew Lock. But with saying that, I think they're going to start Geno Smith because of Lock having COVID, because of him being really sick, and also just like Geno Smith is a safe choice. Pete Carroll definitely realizes that the Seahawks aren't going to be contenders this season. Like, you're trying to find somebody who you're trying to see if Lock has potential. Lock has been balling out in preseason, but I really just don't think he gets to start since he got COVID. If he didn't get COVID, I think Lock gets to start, but Geno Smith is a safe veteran choice. He gets the start. That's my opinion. What about you?
I mean, Drew Lock, as we thought, I'd say it's 2 or 3 years ago, towards the end of the season, the Broncos, they went like that 4-1 stretch, and all the Broncos fans, I mean, everyone was just saying, Drew Lock is a great QB. He's going to do great next season. Come out, he just completely sucks. I mean, he was a terrible QB, didn't do anything for the Broncos, you know. He has looked good in preseason though, but I feel like he's a hot and cold quarterback. Like, he can get hot and he can play good, but then when he gets cold, it's a long cold stretch, and he just like he gets stuck in it. And he just sucks.
And I just think Drew Lock just can't reach his potential on the Seahawks team. He has problems with releasing the ball early. He releases the ball way too late, and he is going to a team with one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. The main reason why Russell Wilson left was this offensive line. Like, I just don't see Drew Lock doing well. But
I mean, yeah.
I don't know.
And then, like,
who do you Smith, yeah, go ahead.
Last year he played one game. It was against the Steelers, as I recall. And, you know, he didn't play bad. It wasn't like he was terrible. They went to the game to overtime, and TJ Watt made a forced fumble on him, and that's what lost him the game. I mean, like, it's not like he played bad, but like, it's just like, it's a pretty bad situation for Seattle, though.
For sure. Well, so who gets the start?
I mean, personally, since Drew Lock did get COVID, I'm gonna have to say Geno Smith, but I wouldn't be surprised by week 2, week 3 if Lock is starting.
100%. It's just this Drew Lock getting COVID has really ruined his chance. I mean, he's the better quarterback. I'm pretty sure he's better in almost everything than Geno Smith. Geno Smith played like a bum last year when Russell Wilson was injured. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the Trey Lance. I have been seriously surprised this offseason. It was already known. Even before, imagine being Jimmy Garoppolo, making the NFC Championship, and knowing you don't get the starting job next year. Imagine being Trey Lance and watching your team go to the NFC Championship and being like, I'm the starting quarterback that year. How does that happen? The 49ers have a bunch of faith in him. And I mean, his first preseason game against Packers, he went on his first drive, 4 for 5, 92 yards and a touchdown. He balled out in that preseason game. He's balling out in camp. But is he the real deal? Could he be up there with like the Justin Herberts, the Joe Burrows, the young, really good quarterbacks, or is he going to be stuck at like a Kirk Cousins, Mac Jones type deal, you know? I mean, Mac Jones has plenty of
Okay.
time.
That's uncalled for. That's
You know,
uncalled for. I'm gonna get to that later what you just said. But start off, Trey Lance. I mean, yeah, he's been playing great in preseason. You know, he's been having a great offseason in camp. He's going into a great team. You know, we got Deebo Samuel. I mean, he plays every position. George Kittle, great tight end. Elijah Mitchell, great running back. Got a solid defense. Yeah, but I mean, if I'm Jimmy G, I'm mad because like I just led your team to NFC Championship, you know, and I want that starting job because like he probably thinks he can go back.
he's not gonna get the starting job.
Yeah, but he
Kyle,
wants it.
He's not gonna get it. Kyle Shanahan has been Kyle Shanahan has had talks with Trey Lance
I know he's not
since the playoffs on him getting the start. Jimmy G is leaving the team. Period. End of discussion.
Yeah, no, that's true. Jimmy G is not starting. Trey Lance, yeah. I mean, he's looked good. He played 2 games last year in actual season games. He got 5 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, which isn't too bad. It's pretty good,
especially for your first 2 games. Like you think of the greats. I mean, not the greats, but you know, not everybody plays well their first games. There's really any really good quarterback that balls out in the first games. For example, Trace McSorley didn't ball out in his first NFL game. But you know, I think, yeah.
So what I'm saying is Trey Lance, you know, a lot of the great QBs, well, the recent ones like Patrick Mahomes, he sat behind Alex Smith for a year, and I mean he's a great QB. Trey Lance, he did sit behind Jimmy G for a full year. I mean, but then you can look at Jordan Love, you know. Sure,
Jordan Love played well. Jordan Love
did play well in preseason.
He's not. He doesn't have. I agree. Yeah.
He sat behind Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest regular season quarterbacks to ever exist. For 2 years. Jordan Love did have that game against the Chiefs. He played awful. It was horrible. So, you know, maybe he's better, but like, I think Trey Lance.
Jordan Love's not better.
Definitely has the potential. What?
Jordan Love's not better.
No, I know, but I'm saying Trey Lance definitely has the potential. He sat behind Jimmy G, a solid QB. I think he's going to come out, and I don't think he's doing exceptionally well, but I think he's going to do well enough to at least lead the 49ers to a playoff.
Yeah, I think he has such a good team on him. I mean, you got Deebo, you got Brandon Ayuk, Elijah Mitchell, really good O-line with the best tackle, in my opinion, in the entire league in Trent Williams. But George Kittle, insane defense. I mean, Trent Warner, Fred Warner, sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. He has all the blocks are lined up for him. He's playing well, but I think he'll be, by the end of the season, a top 15 QB at least, right? And I think if he plays, he needs to prove to me that he can get to top 10 by the end of the season. But I think his ceiling, I mean, it's as good as any other ceiling of any quarterbacks. He's been playing really well. I think the only thing that I sort of have issues with Trey Lance is that I just haven't seen enough play time with him. You see him in practice. You know, I don't know. You really got to wait to the NFL season. His ceiling's there. Is he the real deal? Not right now, but definitely will be. I would like to open this conversation again come week 7.
Week 7, I think that'd be great, you know.
Come their bye week or something.
Definitely has the potential. I definitely could see him being a top 10 QB by the end of the season.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the potential.
It's such a weird situation the 49ers are in. I would be freaking out if I was a 49ers fan. I don't, like, who even knows what's going on? Kyle Shanahan is a genius, but, like, my opinion. Anyway, let's move on to our last discussion of the episode. The main reason, like, why, you know, like, to look forward to the NFL season. Should the preseason stay or should it go? I want to hear your thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts on this one.
I do too. Personally, I think it should stay. But here's the thing, right? As we've seen this year, Zach Wilson, he got injured, as you know, in the preseason. So that's the one downside. Like, starting players could get injured in the preseason. But here's the thing, that's the coach's fault. It's not the preseason. I like the preseason. It gives like the chance the backups to prove themselves, show what they got, like secure a starting spot, and like it's just fun to watch. You know, like 3 weeks before the NFL season actually starts, you got football to watch. I mean, like more football. I mean, like
No, I'm really glad you said this. I am on the strong negation that the preseason should still exist. And I have many reasons. First, you mentioned one of the upsides for the preseason existing. It gives players a lot of shots. That's just a myth. Many coaches in the NFL already get their players already get their shot in training camps, and coaches know 90 to 95% of their roster before the preseason even starts. Like, sure, you've seen like players get a shot, but really, it's not worth the risk. Now, here's some like negatives that are a part of the preseason that I'll just list. Injuries. You mentioned Zach Wilson. There's been many other injuries. It literally is just for the owners. All that preseason does, really, the teams hate it, the players hate it, the coaches hate it. The only people who actually like it are the fans and the owners, because the owners make bank. They make absolute bank. They get to sell tickets, and they get to like sell merchandise during this time. It's like it used to be useful too. It's not useful anymore now. It's players actually used to need it when they didn't do stuff in the off season, but players actually are doing stuff in the off season. There's like OTAs, mini camps. Players are doing stuff all year long. It's no longer a need. It also, a major factor that's like rising in the NFL is the risk of CTE. In preseason, it really increases the risk of CTE, and for nothing. Like there's nothing that goes on in the preseason. Like the only thing that happens is owners profit more off of these games. It doesn't give a shot. It's a myth. It's literally a myth that it gives players a shot. It increases because coaches already have their lineup. It increases the likelihood of this, like one of the main problems of like football itself, in CTE, for literally no reason. And at the end of the day, players don't like it. It is the players who you say benefit the most from these preseason games. Most players have came out this season and have said that they prefer joint practices.
yeah,
I think
that's
there's
the thing,
there's only one pro to the preseason, and it helps the fans get pumped up for the NFL season. Currently, my Bengals are playing the Giants right now as we are speaking. And I'm probably gonna tune into this game because it helps me get pumped. I know that my team's gonna lose. I don't even know, like, I mean I know the players, but I don't really care about the third strings, like. But I'm still gonna watch it because it gets me pumped. Now, go ahead.
That's fair.
Go ahead.
I mean, like I see what you mean. Yeah, makes a good point. Here's the thing. As soon as I play football from experience, practice, OTs, all that, real game is a lot different. I mean, it's faster speed, bigger hits. It's just everything's faster. Like it's just a big difference. Sure, you got joint practices. I mean, yeah, that's great. I mean, joint practices are literally pretty much a scrimmage. But I still think it gives a chance to players to prove themselves. Like, sure, maybe they have 95% of that roster decided. But like, if you show out, then maybe they'll change their minds. It's just like a proof. I mean, it's fun to watch. It gets you hyped for the NFL season. Like, I'm excited. I love watching preseason. It gets me hyped. I'm excited. I mean, and sometimes even the starters play. It's like it's cool to see the starters play. Maybe.
Okay. Yes, but like, players already players already get their shot. Coaches you're telling me that a player is gonna go to a preseason game and a coach is gonna be like, yo, bro, you're gonna be like our new starter. I mean, I know what happens, but it doesn't really happen that much based off of preseason. It's from training. It's from practices. Coaches are good at telling players' potential, unless you're, of course, Bill Belichick. But can you name one player who has significantly had their career impacted based off of preseason?
I mean, I really can't. I mean,
So you're just proving my point. I mean, I get it. I understand. It's great for fans.
Well,
It's great
like,
for fans.
listen, like the high first round picks aren't gonna play in the preseason. Like,
Yes, they do.
but rarely, dude.
Yeah.
Rarely. I mean,
Kenny
they don't play a
Pickett.
lot. They don't play a lot. What?
Kenny Pickett's been playing.
Yeah, but they're not playing that much because they don't want. And also, it decides battles like the QB battle in Pittsburgh. Like they want to see Mitch Trubisky and
No,
Kenny Pickett
they've
both
been
play
judging that
in a
from
preseason
training
game.
camp. They've
Yeah,
been
but they
judging that from.
got a real game's different. It's a real game. It's a lot
I
more.
guess. I guess Kenny Pickett's stock has definitely increased based off of his performance in the past couple of games. I mean, there's definitely benefits to preseason, but at the end of the day, it's just another excuse for the NFL to make more money and profit off of the players and fans' expense. And in my opinion, the only thing that actually makes me pumped for preseason is just like it means that the NFL season is coming soon. It's like the draft. It's like it's like the draft. It's like, oh my god, we're almost at the like everything's like putting teams are gonna move around, you know, stuff like that. I don't know. Personal opinion.
All right. Well, I do think it should stay, but
I mean, yeah, I mean you can have that opinion. I'm gonna disagree, and I'm gonna say
they did shorten the preseason to 3 games to add the extra week into the NFL last year, so that was good. I like that.
Yeah, that was good. I do agree. I don't know. It's all. And honestly, tell me, have you seen a full preseason game pan out this NFL season?
What do you mean by pan out? Like,
have you watched a full preseason game?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Andrew. I watched the Patriots versus Giants, right? I mean, it was entertaining. I mean, most of the time I was on my phone, all right?
Yeah.
But that's not the point. And the point is, like, also, as you said, it's for money for the owners. Like, because they sell a lot of tickets. There's a lot of people at the Patriots game, which I was watching, and they, like, make a lot of money from the tickets.
Yes, it's just a way for owners to exploit their players to make more money. It's proving my points.
But it's also, like, it's a cheap option to go to a game for the fans that, like, will rarely go to a game. Stuff like that.
Let me look up SeatGeek tickets right now. You're telling me it's a cheap option? I bet you these tickets aren't that.
I bet you it's cheaper than regular season. I bet you it's cheaper.
It's probably cheaper, but here, what's a preseason game that's going on right now? Bengals Giants. I bet there's tickets up there. Preseason Sunday, August 21st. I have been proven wrong. Holy moly. $10.
Yeah, I told you they're cheaper. Yeah, I'm telling you, they're a lot cheaper, dude.
You can buy tickets for like $6, $3. Oh my. Maybe wait. It's just because it's already happened. I don't know though.
Like ones that's coming up.
What? Give me here. NFL. Let's check the 49ers Texans on Thursday night.
All right.
49ers.
Yeah.
Y'all can see that. That's $10.
Told you.
For that.
That's not a bad seat.
That's good. Okay. Yeah, I've been proven wrong. It's a cheap option.
I mean, but like, I think it's just but if it went, it wouldn't be like a total deal breaker, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and I feel like more people show up to the practices than they actually do the games.
I mean, yeah, the practices I heard about that, like people just show up and it looks sick. I mean, you just go watch the players and they're like real close too. Like honestly, I'd rather go to a game than the practice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I think it should go. I think like it's not that big of an issue, but I think the only thing that makes it a really big issue is this thing that I mentioned about CTE. And if like the player board actually gets together and they say that they don't like it and they like mention CTE, the NFL is just gonna be forced to. Because if you mention CTE at this point in the NFL, they're like, whoa, no CTE, I swear. I mean,
that's right, yeah.
But anyway, that is our first podcast pre-NFL season. We're gonna be looking to do one of these every single week. Your all sports takes related. We're gonna be mostly focusing on NFL, but if once the NFL season ends, if it gets a little boring, towards the off season, you might see us switching into other sports. We're very knowledgeable in all sports. But yeah, that's the episode. Hope to see y'all soon. Peace.